Thank you. So we have, I think, heard quite a lot of multiple things around that world where we are all passionate about when it comes to food, beverage, and hospitality for some of us. And on what is happening today in the close-up of tomorrow, but let's look even further along. And one first question I would like to address relates to startups. We talked a lot about startups. We hear a lot about the world of startups. We hear a lot about startup going down as well. Not everybody wins. And my question to you, my panelists, is what do you think startups need to do to be the winners? What is missing for some of them? And I would definitely like to hear a bit more about that topic.
I mean, from my end, I think it's just finding that niche and sticking to it, and making sure that technology is being applied to your business in the correct way, and not just applying technology just because you think you need to apply technology.
Mine would be fluid vision, having vision, but you're going to need to be a bit fluid, and you're going to have to. So fluid vision would be my. Because the market is changing so fast nowadays. You keep a vision, but you need to adapt.
I mean, it's tough. It's a tough question because I mean you can do a conference about it, but because there's so many moving parts. I mean, market-wise, I think it's important to start in a niche of a huge industry, because like eventually the niche gets you your foot in the door, and how the kind of your model works and so on, but then eventually you have an industry already out there that you can make it. Obviously, that doesn't apply for everything, because if you take like digital models, that's when industry got created, but that's in food, that's what I think. And then the other part, that this is what you mentioned before, since big part of the startup is also the human component, is just persistence, because you're gonna go through so many shit days that unless you are mentally insane, or you're gonna give up, pretty much.
So I clearly agree. Clearly agree. One thing which is important, if we speak about food, the winners, the startups which will win, need to really understand the food market. They have to do their homework, and typically, I was giving in the presentation beforehand an example of Frischti and Nestor, which are 100% integrated restaurants delivering food to corporate and houses. And one of these startups was generating a lot of growth. Plenty of investors were coming at their door ready to put 30 million, a lot of money. And the guy said, stop, I don't want to invest because I'm losing money. And what he did is that he came back to the basics of the restaurant and went into all the KPIs of the restaurant, how a restaurant should be driven and managed. And the funny part is that the guys did not do it beforehand. They had the marketing idea, but they did not know how to execute, and they did not masterize the basics. And so they were losing money. The guy did it. Now he's making money, profitable, and he's going to raise plenty of money to scale in Europe. So it's really understand, do your homework, and be, of course, in an industry where you can make money and drive growth.
Thank you. We also talked a lot about, well, even before our talk, we just had the block on 3D printing, and 3D printing is definitely something coming and being present more and more in the food world. We are talking about plant-based protein, etc. And one of my concerns somehow is the taste of food going to be standardized, or are we still going to be able to truly experience new products and enjoy what we eat and the way we eat? How do you see that, double angle of things, of going to the extreme of the realistic being unrealistic and the true produce?
You're always going to have the conservatives that are going to balance it out for you. So, like anything else, I guess, politics, you're going to have your conservatives and the innovators, and there's always going to be the middle road where it's fun to play.
Fair enough.
I mean, I think from let's say, a creative exercise, you can come up with the 3D printing in a couple of years, not right now. You can come up with new concepts. You have new companies, for example, that are producing new peptides for essentially new ingredients. I think that eventually, when it comes at scale, food it's been as standard as it gets, and I fear it's going to remain as such. But I think there's going to be interesting niche, more than standardized in terms of taste and so on. What I really think it's going to, in a 20, 25 years perspective, it's more like really the word functional food, not just like the protein one, but like food that has healthy properties included in the ingredients because of coming up with new ingredients or genetically modifying stuff. This is what I think is going to happen.
Thank you. We also approach the point of within the hospitality business or the food and beverage overall about big organization. I mean, Florian earlier on was talking about hotel groups like Accor, Marriott, or we talked about industrial like Nestlé. One of my questions is also how do such big players can make sure they will stay at the top of things in the next 10 to 20 years? We obviously know what they are looking at, changing things and getting, within the innovation, some of them faster than others. But do you have some, thoughts about that topic in particular?
Well, very simple. The companies and corporates, they need to learn to reward failure to their employees. Once they do this, open innovation can come in. They can change the culture. They can access different types of ecosystems. They can try tests with startups, and things move on. What is blocking the corporates, and which some of them will fail and not adapt, is that they're completely pyramidal and they're not rewarding failure. Only the pyramidal structure.
I disagree a little bit on that in the sense that, so first of all, like big food companies, we work with plenty of them, they're really loaded. And they're really, really smart. They know where the stuff is going. So they already adopted a sort of culture of either creating venture arms or take over startups or companies and then let them run independently from that. The thing that I disagree is that it's very easy to blame big corporates on not being slow-moving or not innovative, but especially in food, when someone takes a Nestlé, Unilever, or Procter & Gamble and really goes down to the essence of their business, they are a food safety company. So it's not about playing with shareholders' money and not doing a good job. Here you're playing literally with lives of people. And they simply cannot afford any mistakes on that. That's why introduction of new products in the production chain, it's very slow. And also, take, for example, cellular agriculture or synthetic milk, right? As I was mentioning before. What are the consequences of that stuff? And sometimes you literally need 10 years because you cannot fast forward time on consequences. So I as much as I am not a person that loves corporates, I think the trick is going to be having this thin balance between food safety that has to be guaranteed to the public and being able to run independently companies that they take over.
Thank you. We are running out of time, and I know everybody is eager to go and have real food. However, I just would like to give just 1 minute or so to each of you, just if there is anything in particular you would like to share and bring it back, not to home, because my home is not in Malta, but it is my home for a few days. Where do you see the opportunity in Malta around the topics we have been discussing for the past hour?
From my end, I think one of the biggest opportunities at the moment is through delivery, because Malta is going through a huge change of traffic, and we just need to shorten the gap between people ordering online and getting food delivered to their offices or to their doors. And this can only be done through startups kind of shaking and breaking the normal way of going through the streets.
Thank you.
Mine would be in regards to Malta, the gap between eating local, there's a huge gap in knowing what local is and and what delicious foods there are around us. Simple. That's it.
Thank you.
For me, more like models that don't require widespread operations like distribution and so on in terms of food, and models that probably independently food or not that are purely digital mostly and because scalable from one location.
I say that Malta can, due to its geographical situation, could play a role as a hub for the Mediterranean region, enabling all the countries in the Mediterranean to have a place where to meet and speak about the food and travel hospitality ecosystem, and Malta could play that role.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your lunch.